I got the power I share. Hell, all of doom are red. Flow change like oh yeah. To my fans, more bread. Traffic and African rituals. I know it's far from typical. I know they calling it mythical. I just be calling it mystical. Whoa, black magic with white fabric, they catch a vibe. I see through the ancestors' eyes. You can't see it cause you westernized. My chain hang for Ogun. That blame's lit, I'm in tune. That high giant is in the air, boy. That smoke fills up that room. I'm consumed. I laugh at y'all. Grant my people with good health. Don't talk about it, but I live it, boy. You grant my folks with plenty wealth. I walk the path of that shoe. Then they're reciting no joke. 2 mouths up, 2 mouths down. Got balance made in my view. Oh yeah, bring your interchange. Power down, I share. Aaron Miller, give me purpose. Power down, I share. Throw my oldies to my head. Power down, I share. Read my old do if I daily. Power down, I share. Egun got me. Ori got me. Olaron got me. Soru got me. Ebo got me. Ajuban got me. Baba Wa got me. Iyawa got me. I go Obi, I go Obi, I go Obi, yo. I go Obi, I go Obi, I go Obi, yo. I go Obi, I go Obi, I go Obi, yo. Ele monkey, yo, ele monkey, yo, ele monkey, yo, Aki, I am the sun in the moon. Still, I feel like a June. Ori prayer in the morning. Hands up all around. 4 pots for a goon. See my grits in the room. Throw the shells to the plate. Menchie and Della goon. 5 chains on my neck. The Ilekes, they reflect. Y'all speak, oh yeah, cool. Translation as death. Sprinkle a little I J. All the room from an E Ray. Akina Moran, I'm blowing my hand. I'm pitching the sand. Whoa! Plead the Obi, stand with my Ile Ikoki. Warrior type, I'm like a trophy. Shango power, come approach me. That's thunder. For the spirits I conjure. Wake them up from that slumber. Right? You just call my number. Oh yeah, bring your interchange. Power down, I share. Aaron Miller, give me purpose. Power down, I share. Throw my Obies to my head. Power down, I share. Read my old do if I daily. Power down, I share. Egun got me. Ori got me. Olaron got me. Soru got me. Ebo got me. Ajuban got me. Baba Wa got me. Iyawa got me. I go Obi, I go Obi, I go Obi, yo. I go Obi, I go Obi, I go Obi, yo. I go Obi, I go Obi, I go Obi, yo. Ele monkey, yo, ele monkey, yo, ele monkey, yo, Aki, yeah.
Welcome to another edition of Thorough Black Talk Radio with your brother Tad, Sister Keisha, and brother Ashe is on the way. We're going to continue, family, with our conversation with our brother, the history hitman Mike Graves, later on in the broadcast. So tell somebody to log on now because we live, we ready to go. A lot has been happening, but the three of us have been maintaining, doing as best as we possibly can in this critical time. And our stars rising. Our stars rising because our ancestors got us. As long as your ancestors got you and you're willing to lie in their belly, you will be fine. No matter how hard it is, as my brother Tad said, there's always better days ahead. So I hope you all have been checking out Brother Tad live on Facebook. He has given you 4 weeks of intense workout. I'm wearing a dress today because my thighs is hurt. I don't want nothing to touch him, nothing. I don't know how that's going to work out for Mr. Forrester, but we'll see how that plays.
Look, I ain't want to say nothing. So I think he might have to say so in that, but I don't know.
For sure, for sure, for sure. I see my brother Mike Gray's in the queue. So that means it's all good. Everything's good to go on your end, brother Mike. So I see you in the queue. All right. So brother Tad, tell us how your week has been going. What's going on with you, my brother? How you feeling? What's good?
Oh man, I'm feeling good. Given these trying times that we in. Been trying to unplug from what's really going on in terms of every time you turn on the television or you go on certain pages of social media, you just see this unrest. You see repetitive images of us being slaughtered, and that's not what I constantly want to see. So I've submerged myself more into information about business developing and things like that, and definitely just studying more on my personal training end of the business, just getting reacquainted with the human body and how it works, also known as the human movement system, because there's a lot of things that I'm lining up for myself in terms of business, to share with the community, because health and wellness is definitely a key component in having a healthy community. We can know all this knowledge all we want, but if we're not eating right and physically taking care of ourselves, then all of it would be for naught. So I definitely want to make health and wellness part of my contribution to the community. So I'm making sure, as well versed as I am in much of our cultural aspect of it, also want to get into the health aspect of it, at least the physical health, because there's so many different modalities. When we talk nutrition, you got people that are vegan, people on keto diets, all types of things, and even when we start talking about physical fitness, there's different modalities. Some people ride bikes, some people swim, some people hit weights, some people just walk, yoga, whatever's the thing that gets you motivated to take better care of yourself, and I'm studying from the scientific aspect so I could bring the community the proper information, because I do see people talk about health and wellness who are not really skilled in that area and just give a general idea. And a lot of times when you talk in generalization, you really don't speak to the specifics, and you're liable to miss the mark. So I don't want to miss the mark when I give our community this right information, because I think what's happening now is so many people are trying to jockey for leadership. Because as we see what's going on right now, we have all of these people that I've never heard of before all of a sudden are starting to become spokespeople for Black people. And I'm like, I don't know this person and they don't speak for me, but these are the times we're in. So I'm picking a lane, sis, and I'm going to stay in that lane. It's pretty much my point, So that's what I've been doing, just, carving out my niche for myself as I grow and develop and evolve, just staying in my space, But other than that, everything is cool, things are looking great, City's opening back up. Business is
Yeah,
doing well.
yeah, I see that. Y'all go right on ahead. But anyway,
Yeah, right. Look, I
whatever.
still want my physical distance,
You
you
know what I'm
know.
saying? Give me my 10 feet.
Sis said 10 feet. I was going 6.
I need the whole 10 because people don't listen. I don't know. I don't know. People got all kind of conspiratorial ideas about what's happening, but I don't care. I know something is happening. And I don't want it over here. That's all I'm telling you. That's all. You can call it whatever you want to. 5G, the monkey in the middle. I don't care what it is. I don't want it over here. We good over here. So but I myself have been a little bit busy. I've been really busy this week on some personal things, but we always got to keep one step ahead of these agitators, and as you said, all of these leaders. I was watching too. Who are these leaders? Like, where do you come from? Like, I don't remember them giving Tad, Ashe, and Keisha a survey saying which one of y'all, which one of us could be your leader today. I mean, who comes up with this stuff? And I see a lot of corporations, brother Tad, who writing checks to like the NAACP. Really? What? Tell me, y'all, what has the NAACP done for Black people in recent times, or any time for that matter? I'm just saying. Somebody please school me. Where do you come up with? Who are these folks? that claim to be spokespersons for all of us. Like, we all grown adults on this platform. I don't need no damn leader. I'm good over here. You know, everybody I know, we good over here. Like, who the hell appointed y'all? And you know, this the sad part is a lot of checks is going to be written, and they're going back into these organizations to help, you know, people personal needs and personal wants, and hook up the friends and hook up the family. And meanwhile, the community is still suffering. And then we come back with reparations because I done gave y'all them checks now. We done cut the checks. You
so
know,
don't ask for nothing else,
brother.
Yeah, they gonna cut the checks. They don't ask for nothing else. Then I just give y'all $5,000. That's your reparation. You better make it work for your national organization. $5,000. So out of 50 states, would everybody get $100 per organ? You know, I mean, we laugh and we make jest of it, but it's some serious business. And I'm glad our guest tonight, the Black History Hitman, who's back at it again, who knows how to critically pinpoint pivotal times where we made critical mistakes. And I just love his synopsis on how he pulled back the layers, break it down, and show us where we went wrong. Show us what are we doing wrong now and how it mirrors what we've done wrong in the past. Because unfortunately, many of our folks are really out there on the strength of emotions. Now, don't get me wrong, sis. I'm glad to see this level of resistance from our people. I'm glad to see that our plight is now on the lips of all of our people. But now with that emotion and that action and activity, it has to be proper information. Because once the fanfare dies down, what do we go back to? Do our folks join organizations or do they go right back to sleep? Say, yeah, that was a good time in 2020 and don't do nothing since. You know, it's pretty much like many people of the Million Man March. You know, a lot of brothers came back recharged and re-energized, but then it died down by 96, 97. And very few still held the line and still going till this day. You know, so hopefully this is, you know, as they said before, it's a movement and not a moment, you know, because our people are like squirrels sometimes. You know, whatever noise is that way, we turn our attention in that direction. Oh, they're making noise to the right. Let's see what's going on over there. Noise to the left. Let's go on. We got to get centered and focused and move straight ahead. You know, pick a lane and stay in it. That's it. That's all we got to do. It's not that hard. You know?
It's not. But I'm telling y'all right now, I don't got no leader. I'm telling you right now, I don't know who getting these checks. I still want my reparations. For both my indigenous family and my African family. Cut my checks ASAP. That's what right. I don't know about what nobody else talking about. You know, that's the way I see it. All of these celebrities too, these so-called black celebrities, brother Brother Tad, when they come out of the woodwork, like how do we keep falling for this trick bag? When it came to issues with other communities, other ethnic groups, they don't have no entertainers come out and speak on their behalf. I mean, what is this? What is this? And you know, the emotionalism of it, it just makes me want to vomit. It makes me want to vomit, and I'm getting tired of it. And you know, I want our people who are listening, you know, just do your due diligence. You know, just think a little bit. You know, what is a program cannot repair or restore everything that has happened to you, your family, and your ancestors. A program is not going to do that. This thing with defund the police, what does that actually mean? And for which district? It's a different meaning for different districts or different states. What are we talking about here? What do you want? Total anarchy? I'm just saying, I'm just asking. These are questions that I have. You know, I don't profess to be a leader for nobody. I'm just speaking my truth. I just want some answers here. You cannot have a program to fix what has been done and continuing to be done. A program is not going to do that. A group, and who are these people that are forming these meetings? Like seriously, Spike Lee and the rest of them. Like, come on, stop the nonsense. Stop the nonsense,
We
brother.
don't see that the insult in having celebrities. It speaks to the old adage of blacks only being good for sports and entertainment. So even when leadership is designated to speak for the community, they'll go to sports figures and entertainers as well, as if we don't have any qualified theologians and doctors and progressive thinkers, thought leaders. We have tons of them. People who really have great ideas. I mean, like let's even go mainstream and talk about a Dr. Claude Anderson, who comes from their system of government, who worked with many of their presidents, wrote bills for the presidents. Let's hear what he has to say on a national platform, on the mainstream media. That's who they need to be talking to. I would listen to him before I listen to Killer Mike or T.I. or someone like that. They don't speak for me. Though they come from where I come from, they do not speak for me because the contradiction is too loud. It's too blatant. It's too obvious. With Killer Mike, with the kill your masters, we're talking about acquiesce to the government. Like that's a contradiction in itself. We either gonna acquiesce or we gonna kill the masters. Now we can't have it both ways. But again, our people are not. They're not. I don't want to say our people are not as sophisticated enough, but it's so unfortunate that that many of us don't practice that level of discernment to peel back the layers and say, hold up, something just don't sound right. We don't all have to know everything, but at some point we do have to see who's consistent. We do have to see who's been on that type of time for years, not just because somebody got killed and everybody else is hashtagging and this is the trending topic on social media. So now I want to be an activist. Now I want to get involved. Because even when you look at who's the activist here in New York City, it's rappers that couldn't make it as rappers and it's reality TV stars. Are we serious? This is who we're taking our cues from. And people who are still trying to hobnob and get close with those within the system that is oppressing us. So we don't see the contradiction. They're taking the position that W.B. Du Bois once took, saying if we just do what they say and try to go along to get along, maybe they'll leave us alone. But W.B. Du Bois seen that didn't work. Remember, he was anti-African in the beginning. And then where he ended up dying? In Africa. He made it to Africa. You know what I'm saying? And it's just so crazy because he realized that we can't change these people and we will not change their system, because as sure as people protest about changing the systemic racism that exists within law enforcement, Dr. Francis Cress Welsing told us it exists in the 9 areas of human activity. So folks need to be boycotting outside of Hollywood, need to be outside of these radio stations, need to be outside of these record labels. There's so many places that we should be boycotting other than the police. Because to your point, when we say defund police, like who's going to regulate now? Are we going to turn this to the Wild West? So anytime somebody feels slighted or somebody transgressed against them, they take it upon themselves to go seek justice. That's why we're in this situation now. That's what happened to Ahmaud Arbery. Folks decided that they're going to take the law into their own hands. Same thing with Zimmerman. So when we start talking about defund the police and get rid of the police, who's supposed to take their place? Because us as a community, and I'm only talking about us right now, we doing a poor job in protecting the community we got. So what's going to happen when the boys, and I'm not saying we need them per se, but let's, and I think we always say this every time we get a chance, sis. Before we start talking about taking down one system, let's already have another system in place. So it's a seamless transition. So nobody else get hurt. You can't talk about closing down one business and we don't have another business to replace it, because some businesses are necessary in our community, period. I don't care if it's an Arab who owned a gas station. We burn the gas station down. Where we going to get our gas from? We burn the supermarket down. Where we going to get our food from? Only way we're supposed to take something down is once we got something else in place. And that only comes from astute planning as opposed to rhetoric and rabble rousing. So we got to start thinking ahead of the game, saying, you know what, let's build this. Let's build Sister Keisha's store. Let's get her everything she needs. So when we shut down Habibi's and them down the block, by next week, Sister Keisha already in there. Everybody knows she up and running. Boom, boom, boom. We stay ready so we don't have to get ready. Because the way things are going right now, it's a repeat of all that we've already done. I see a lot of people making the same mistakes. And though I love the resistance, I love that many of our people know that it's time to fight back. They're taking down statues. They're getting rid of the Confederate flags. That's what I'm talking about. But then what? And you know, it's almost like a chess game. You know what I'm saying? You can get as many pieces as you want. You know, you can be tearing your opponent up. But if you don't have an end game in chess, you can lose the game. You can have all your pieces and your opponent can have 3 pieces and still checkmate you if you don't plan strategically. You know, but I'm gonna step off my soapbox with that one for now.
I hear you, brother. I hear you. And in order to do those things, cut them checks. Cut them checks.
Bottom line, right?
I put a post out the other day. Cut our checks and let us be. But that will never happen. That will never happen. They will never let us be. And whatever we build, security must be at the forefront.
That's a fact.
If not, history is going to continue to repeat itself. As far as, you know, if you have no police, will it be the Wild Wild West? That could be beneficial. Anybody who understands, you know, a little bit of military science, that could be beneficial. But, you know, I don't know. We'll get into that a little bit later. Here go my brother Ashe SJ is with us. How you feeling, God?
Brother Ashe.
Yeah, man. I was pulling a Teddy Riley in the background.
Yeah. Did you have your hands on your hips too? Just looking at the screen like, what the?
Yo, it's crazy, man. I had to get my modem together, get everything situated, but I'm in here now. What up, family?
No doubt.
Yeah, we were just, you know, giving out 2 cents, you know, on this whole thing about these so-called leaders. You know, who the hell are they? We never chose these people. I never got a survey. I know you ain't getting no survey. So who the hell are these people? And why the hell, you know, this is crazy here. This is crazy to me. So, you know, I just speaking for me, you know, the Tamika Mallorys, your Sharptons, your Jamal Bryants, and, you know, all of these, Martin III and all of these people, the NAACP ain't never did a damn thing for me. And I just don't, that's just me. And I'm a grown-ass woman, and nobody going to tell me who's ahead of me. And I don't want no entertainer or, like Brother Taz said, some wannabe rapper who didn't make it speaking on my behalf. I'm sorry. And mainstream media and the government, your politicians, they know full well that we have an elite class of scholars and professionals who can not just speak for themselves, but the whole genre of us. They can. I mean, who decided that Reverend Barber could speak for me? He can't even breathe. You can't tell me nothing. Stop playing. You can't tell me nothing, dude. You can't tell me nothing. And, you know, and I respect all of, you know, people in their personal, you know, religious beliefs or affiliations. I respect that. Whatever you do, that you do you. But don't try to recruit me to go along with a doctrine you clearly can't read. Because if you're reading it right, what you're telling me, that don't work. I'm sorry. That's not my context clues I got here. I take it back to 3rd grade. Read the context clues here. I mean, I don't know what Bible you reading. You know, I'm gonna step back for a minute. You know, let my brother Ashe SJ get in here. How you feeling, brother? What's going on with you? How you feeling this week?
What's the deal, family? A baby for Hodie, your brother Ashe SJ. Welcome to Thorough Black Talk. My bad for the tardiness, man. I had to restart my modem, go through all of this. But you know these devils don't want us talking about this real stuff. But yeah, I'm feeling great, man. I'm feeling great. You know, I'm really reinvigorated, re-energized, refocused, ready to really help our people out, man. You know, I got back on the social media. I was taking a hiatus from that. And I've been saying some things, and I've been sharing some information, some articles, and a lot of people liking it, a lot of people feeling it. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a lot of people out there, like Keisha said, that's these fake ass leaders that be on the internet, And you see them, they might make a video every day, you know, but they ain't really saying nothing. And then sometimes it just take a regular person, you know, a real African-centered person to just get up here and really put their heart out, you know, and that's when the people could really see the difference. When you talk about these quote unquote leaders, you could see the difference. You could feel the difference just by looking at somebody, just by hearing the things they say. Some people say things because it sound good, but not enough people are backing it up. You know, Baba Baruti taught us, you know, word, action, deed, thought, word, deed, that all gotta come together, you know, and a lot of people are just doing the talking, you know. So I'm just excited to get back on and really connect with the brothers and sisters, you know, the brothers and sisters that's on the line right now tonight supporting us. You know, we do this every Thursday, 8 to 10 p.m. And our brother Mike Graves is coming on again, right, Keisha? He's going to definitely come in with the information.
He in there. He in the green room already. He in the green room.
A lot of people will get to see the brother. The brother has been putting in work for a long time. You know, the history hitman, we call him that for a reason. And it's amazing to have somebody that is so in tune with history, because a lot of us don't study it. And it's important because a lot of the times with what's going on right now, you see that history is repeating itself, you know, and a lot of people that seem like they poking their chests out, or they these fake leaders and things of that nature, they say these things, but they don't realize that the things that they're saying for people and I guess you could call solutions that they starting to create are things that have been done already. You know, it's things that leaders before them have done. And a lot of them come with this egotistical mindset about it, like they really doing something new, when really a lot of ancestors and warriors have done that before them. And sometimes to prove that it don't work. So we have to come together and really create something brand new and step outside of the box and do this like the Baba Malcolm X said, by any means necessary, man, because we're going to have to do simultaneous things. We're going to have to be on the legal end, and we're going to have to be on the street underground end. You know, if you just one or the other, I don't think it's going to work out for you. You know, everybody play their position. We know that, but you also have to have the heart and be willing to do whatever it takes, and not just whatever, everything it takes, you know, for us to really be free, man, because I'm not trying to go through the same thing. I always say I'm not a risk taker unless it's a calculated risk. You know, I ain't trying to risk my family. I'm not trying to risk my friends and put them on the line for something that we already know has failed. You know, so the history hitman is definitely going to come in and give you some perspectives on the things that have happened to us in the past with some of our leaders, you know, some of our real freedom fighters, and some of the things that we need to learn, some lessons that we need to be taken from the things that they already put in place. We need to apply them, but improve ourselves at the same time, you know? So that's what it's all about, man. I'm really a student when it comes to my big brother, my big sister, and the brother Mike Graves. You know, I'm just sitting back ready to get my notepad out. So everybody that's listening, make sure y'all take notes, because we know some people will go in one ear right out the other. Next thing you know, a month later, they start regurgitating it like they created it, right?
Yeah.
They put one little YouTube video out and say something and get a couple likes, and now they bigging their chest up like they did something. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, we got to know that this is a collective effort. You know, it's a collective effort. It's not just for Ashe. It's not just for Keisha, Tad, Mike Graves, whoever. You know, we really out here fighting for the future, for the little Ashes and the little Keishas and the little Tads and their children, you know, so on and so forth, to keep this thing going, man. Because at this rate, I don't even know if we're going to have Africans next 10, 20 years. The way y'all integrating out here in these Black Lives Matter protests, the way y'all coming together, singing Kumbaya, holding hands, man, it's looking scary out here. The people y'all putting in on the camera and saying that who was it? I think it was, did you talk about this, Keisha? I think T.I. said that she was the leader, right? T.I. quote, it was a quote that T.I. actually said that Tamika Mallory is our leader. I mean, it's funny, like, I mean, I'm not trying to throw.
You know, I could say some things, but I won't. I'm gonna be nice.
I'm not trying to throw.
I'll be nice, you know.
On our people, you know what I'm saying? Because we want to work with our people, but it's the mentality, and that goes to what I just said about us repeating the same mistakes over and over because we don't study history. Why is T.I. looking for a goddamn leader? You know what I'm saying? T.I. been on all of these panels, right? Doing all these talks with Diddy. He did the telethon, COVID telethon. He did the whatever that thing was when they had Killer Mike. They had him up there. that telethon. It was a whole bunch of panels they doing, right? So if you speaking and doing all this speaking, I mean, you don't have to call yourself a leader, but you should look into yourself to lead. You know what I'm saying? That's what all of us do. We don't call ourselves leaders. We don't try to be leaders, but we do take initiatives and create initiatives and give advice to our people and things of that nature and put in work and actually go and try to do some things for our people. That's leadership. But people want to be a leader and don't want to be in leadership. There's a difference between that. At least nowadays, the connotation that everybody put on leader is like they just want somebody to stand in the front of things and do everything so you could sit back and not do nothing. That's the connotation that people got on what a leader is nowadays. At least that's what I'm getting from what y'all say when y'all call y'all need a leader. Because Ashe, you'll never see Ashe saying I need a leader. We got Babas, we got Nanas, we got Jegnas, we got people that's putting in work and we learn from them. But I'm not going to sit back and say, oh, I need a leader to tell me what to do. When Ashe said they out here killing us, what was that? Years ago. Mad years ago, when they said that they was out here killing us, what did I do? I ain't say I need no leader. I went and created a BB Toomey gun club. And I don't even share that because I don't want all of y'all coming. Because I only let the people that come on my club, when we go to the range, I only let them come if we vetted them. If I know that they solid. And I don't do it for money. But that's the initiative that I did. Bring Black couples together. What did I do? I created chocolate. Black event, poetry, love poems, candles, singing, all of that. Bring brothers and sisters together. You know what I'm saying? Tag, Keisha, everybody creates initiatives. But when it comes to these fake rappers and all of these other people, they want to look for a leader. They want to point you in a direction of somebody. And most of the time, these people are not even leading you in the right direction. They leading you right, not to throw no shade, but they leading you right into a burning house. But if we study history, we would know that Dr. King already said that. And that's not the route to go. We would know that Dr. King, right before his demise, was starting to understand that all of the efforts that he was putting in needed to be improved, needed to go a different direction. He needed to shift them. If you was with Dr. King right now, he wouldn't be saying the same goddamn thing that they share when they put these memes and when they put a video or a little clip in an article, because they handpick, they spoon feeding you what they want you to know about Dr. King. But they don't talk about the one that said we integrated into a burning house. Now imagine just like Malcolm X, the Honorable Malcolm X, when he was Detroit Red, and he had that whole transition, when he had that whole shift, and he became Malcolm X. Now imagine if Dr. King would have had the ability, would have had the opportunity to transition. Somebody that already done did all of the kumbaya and all of this singing and all of that, which we personally don't agree with. But he did that and realized that it wasn't working. What if he started being on a revolutionary or an insurrectionary side of things? Don't say just because he was a Christian that wouldn't have been possible, because we know Nat Turner was a Christian. We know Harriet Tubman was a Christian. So many people were Christians that were really insurrectionists putting in work for our people. So you can't say that it would have just been 100% docile or submissive. You never know. But the problem is we don't give our people enough room to grow. Just like some of these elders, when they see the youth and they see the people rioting and looting, I call it rebelling, because this is a rebellion. But when they see that, they automatically shun them because they don't understand it. They don't understand it. I'm not saying that it's not other things that we could do that to be progressive. Yeah, of course, there's many different avenues that we could take to freedom. But at the same time, it's a disconnect. It's a disconnect. And this is the reason why Ashe, Tag, Keisha, We not trying to be no super leaders. We not trying to be no conscious community people that you see on this platform every week. And this is it. This is not what we about. We just do this because we weathered and we have experience and we've met a lot of Babas that's real revolutionaries. And we want to continue and push that information and that aesthetic onto our people, because we already see we getting bombarded with the aesthetic of fake revolutionaries, Black Lives Matter people with bullhorns and picket signs, and that's all they do. So we got to come and give y'all a different side of things, because we do appreciate that right now with everything that's going on. A lot more people are waking up. A lot more people are starting to see that, yo, we can't just sit back and be submissive. We got to say something. We got to do something. Ashe wasn't, even though I'm from the street, I wasn't no like super revolutionary. I transitioned. I wasn't born in a what you want to say, consciousness or whatever. I always had a conscience, and I always had my Black spirit, my African spirit. But I wasn't doing the things that I'm doing now. So if some of y'all would have saw who I used to be back in the days, y'all would have threw me out. Y'all would have threw the baby out with the bathwater.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? So this is why we have to really start connecting, remove the disconnect, family. Let's be realistic. You know what I'm saying? Let's get centered in the goals that we really want. Let's start planning and let's start attacking them. You know what I'm saying? Let's start crossing it off the list. That's what I'm down for. Shout out to my sister, Janelle Monet. Sister said, yo, we got to put something together. I know the COVID has kept us away from each other. You know what I'm saying? She started something small. She put a little get together. I'm about to pull up tomorrow to her little get together. Bring some African food, you know, some drinks, all of that. And we just gonna sit and build and you know, come up with solutions. These are things that you can implement, even if you don't know what the solution is. If you got a space, you can hold space for people to come together and brainstorm what needs to be done. If you got a business, you could teach people how you created your business. Teach people how to run things. It's little things. Even if you work for somebody else, you could teach them how to do certain things, how to have a skill, how to have a trade, you know? Because I truly believe that we have to go into manufacturing. If we're going to be self-sufficient, we have to go into manufacturing. Africa has too many damn resources for us to not be manufacturing everything. Because everything that you see, all these things that come from China and go to the Apple store, all of the minerals and all of that come from Africa. Why is Apple not sourcing that from Africa, like the actual tech? You know how many Black people we got in the tech industry? But are they African minded? No. Because when you get into these big companies, these tech companies and these banking companies, you in an environment that's surrounded by your enemies. And then the Black people that get into these jobs, they get jobs, they run off with the plug. Because they become the plug. They the one that get information and get access to more benefits and more money and things of that nature. And what they do, they move out of their neighborhood. But if we had our own companies, our own manufacturing factories and things of that nature, then the people that get these good jobs wouldn't have to worry about working in these environments where there's nobody that look like them. And this is why repatriation is huge, family. Shout out to my brother Tad. Stay going to Ghana at least once a year. I'm tickets out right now because I'm going to Uganda before 2021. I'm going to Uganda. I got connects out there and all that. I'm linking up with my brothers and sisters. Y'all see me on Facebook or whatever. You think I'm just up here doing this and doing that? I'm connecting. We got our African brothers and sisters left and right. Every day they showing that they support with us. Showing that they support what we doing and what's going on over here. Why are African Americans not doing the same thing? Do you know that they just, like a week ago, they said that a new version of Ebola virus hit, I believe it was Nigeria?
Wow.
A new upgraded version of Ebola virus hit Nigeria in the COVID pandemic. Do you know how many mudslides happen all over the continent? Well, our people, if they don't die, if they're lucky enough to have their life preserved, all of their crops and their livelihood are gone just because of the rain. And you do know what little things that we could do over here that would mean the whole world to them over there? And opportunities for us to even help them is opportunities in it for us. Why are we still so focused on this plantation here, this machine that we keep feeding? We keep putting the oil into the machine every year, every day. We running.
It's funny you saying that, Ashe, because as I came in, my thing is cut my check and leave me be. We good over here. We good over here. And you get some people who say, well, we should not be asking for anything. God damn it, I'm demanding it. And if you don't get it, and I said it at that town hall meeting a couple of years ago, we're going to take it from you.
That's right.
Period. But that's a perfect segue. I know you all have seen this video online, and we're going to play it and give a quick analysis of it as a segue till we bringing in our brother, the history hitman, Mike Graves, a little later. But hold on, family. This is, and we don't know her. Before y'all start writing stuff, and we ain't never met these people before, the videos that we're playing. However, there has been a lot of commentary on these particular videos, and momentum is going and growing in different ways. So we're going to play that for you all real quick. So just hold on 1 second. This is Sister Kimberly Jones.
So I've been seeing a lot of things talking about people making commentary. Interestingly enough, the ones I've noticed that have been making the commentary are wealthy Black people making the commentary about we should not be rioting, we should not be looting, we should not be tearing up our own communities. And then there's been an argument of the other side of we should be hitting them in the pocket. We should be focusing on the blackout days where we don't spend money. But, I feel like we should do both. And I feel like I support both. And I'll tell you why I support both. I support both because when you have a civil unrest like this, there are three types of people in the streets. There are the protesters, there are the rioters, and there are the looters. The protesters are there because they actually care about what is happening in the community. They want to raise their voices, and they are there strictly to protest. You have the rioters who are angry, who are anarchists, who really just want to shit up, and that's what they're going to do regardless. And then you have the looters. And the looters almost exclusively are just there to do that, to loot. Now, people are like, well, what did you gain? Well, what did you get from looting? I think that as long as we're focusing on the what, we're not focusing on the why. And that's my issue with that. As long as we're focusing on what they're doing, we're not focusing on why they're doing. And some people are like, well, those aren't people who are legitimately angry about what's happening. Those are people who just want to get stuff. Okay, well then let's go with that. Let's say that's what it is. Let's ask ourselves why in this country in 2020, the financial gap between poor Blacks and the rest of the world is at such a distance that people feel like their only hope and only opportunity to get some of the things that we flaunt and flash in front of them all the time is to walk through a broken glass window and get it. That they are so hopeless that getting that necklace, getting that TV, getting that change, getting that bed, getting that phone, whatever it is that they're going to get, is that in that moment when the riots happen and if they present an opportunity of looting, that's their only opportunity to get it. We need to be questioning that. Why are people that poor? Why are people that broke? Why are people that food insecure, that clothing insecure, that they feel like their only shot, that they are shooting their shot by walking through a broken glass window to get what they need? And then people want to talk about, well, there's plenty of people who pulled themselves up by their bootstraps and got it on their own. Why can't they do that? Let me explain to you something about economics in America. And I'm so glad that as a child, I got an opportunity to spend time at Push where they taught me this, is that we must never forget that economics was the reason that Black people were brought to this country. We came to do the agricultural work in the South and the textile work in the North. Do you understand that? That's what we came to do. We came to do the agricultural work in the South and the textile work in the North. Now, if I right now decided that I wanted to play Monopoly with you, and for 400 rounds of playing Monopoly, I didn't allow you to have any money. I didn't allow you to have anything on the board. I didn't allow for you to have anything. And then we played another 50 rounds of Monopoly, and everything that you gained and you earned while you were playing that round of Monopoly was taken from you. That was Tulsa. That was Rosewood. Those are places where we built Black economic wealth, where we were self-sufficient, where we owned our stores, where we owned our property, and they burned them to the ground. So that's 450 years. So for 400 rounds of Monopoly, you don't get to play at all. Not only do you not get to play, you have to play on the behalf of the person that you're playing against. You have to play and make money and earn wealth for them, and then you have to turn it over to them. So then for 50 years, you finally get a little bit and you're allowed to play. And every time that they don't like the way that you're playing, or that you're catching up, or that you're doing something to be self-sufficient, they burn your game. They burn your cards. They burn your Monopoly money. And then finally at the release and the onset of that, they allow you to play and they say, okay, now you catch up. Now at this point, the only way you're going to catch up in the game is if the person shares the wealth, correct? But what if every time you share the wealth, then there's psychological warfare against you to say, oh, you're an equal opportunity hire. So if I played 400 rounds of Monopoly with you and I had to play and give you every dime that I made, and then for 50 years, every time that I played, if you didn't like what I did, you got to burn it like they did in Tulsa and like they did in Rosewood. How can you win? How can you win? You can't win. The game is fixed. So when they say, why do you burn down the community? Why do you burn down your own neighborhood? It's not ours. We don't own anything. We don't own anything. Trevor Noah said it so beautifully last night. There's a social contract that we all have, that if you steal or if I steal, then the person who is the authority comes in and they fix the situation. But the person who fixes the situation is killing us. So the social contract is broken. And if the social contract is broken, why the f do I give a shit about burning the Football Hall of Fame, about burning the Target? You broke the contract when you killed us in the streets and didn't give up. You broke the contract when for 400 years we played your game and built your wealth. You broke the contract when we built our wealth again on our own by our bootstraps in Tulsa, and you dropped bombs on us. When we built it in Rosewood and you came in and you slaughtered us. You broke the contract, so your Target, your Hall of Fame. As far as I'm concerned, they could burn this bitch to the ground and it still wouldn't be enough. And they are lucky that what Black people are looking for is equality and not revenge.
Ashe. Yo, I love her analogy, particularly when she brought up the Monopoly. I think that was so eloquent and succinct that it made perfect sense. 400 rounds of Monopoly, and anything you get, you got to give to your opponent. Like, it gets no clearer than that. I think a 5-year-old can understand that. And that's how long we've been cheated. 400 rounds of Monopoly. And everything you earned. I mean, wasn't that the Meritorious Manumission Act, that only way you could be free is you got to snitch on the rebellion, create something that they can get paid off, or save their property, and then maybe if they want to be nice, they'll give you your freedom and not necessarily your wife and your children and your family. Because remember, they did it so much that they had to stop because people just kept snitching, lying on each other. Sister Keisha trying to run away. Can I get free now? You know, it's just crazy, man. It's just crazy. So I love how she put that. Now, see, we got our guest in the house tonight. Salute to our brother Mike Graves.
Yes,
the Black History Hitman.
Perfect segue to him coming in. But one thing, one slight change or add on that I would like to say that even if it wasn't an economic situation, the need to keep us in a condition of, under their feet, is it transcends wealth. Because if you look at what happened with Move,
Yes.
they weren't an elite class of wealthy folks. However, they just rubbed the system the wrong way, and they came and they dropped bombs on Move. And not just the angst that Rizzo and Wilson Good had with Move, but they didn't care that there was other Black people who lived near them. They bombed their homes as well, tortured them as well. And so
the children in the homes.
True. I'm in line with Dr. Kamal Cambone. That's where I'm at with it. That's where I've always been at with it. You cannot reason with an animal. And I think that we keep getting into this trick bag of, we can work within this system. That's a farce. And it just saddens me that you got these so-called politicians, and that's what they are, so-called politicians, because they're not politically savvy enough or astute enough to understand what's coming down the pike with us, and it's really disturbing to me. But kudos to Sister Kimberly Jones, and I definitely agree with that analysis. Go ahead, Brother Ashe.
Now, I started late, so my fire coming a little late, but it's still coming. My fire's still there. It's just brewing a little bit. Now, I'm going to say, I'm going to have to take the fiery side on this one because, the sister was saying some things that I definitely agree with. We all could agree with that. But when you turn the camera around, who do you see standing there with the family, with her, watching the video? Did y'all peep that?
No, I missed that.
It was the devil standing right there, clapping on and applauding, saying, I like what you're saying. I approve of that. We stand by this message. Now, at the end of the video, too, Ashe always got his head on a swivel. Y'all may agree, disagree. I really
Come on with it, brother. Come on with it.
I don't care. I agree with what the sister was saying, and I applaud her effort, but I don't really know where's she coming from with it? Because we see, and this goes into the segue of what we're talking about. We see a lot of people get in front of these cameras. They say all the right things. They do it, and at the end, she started crying, right? But remember, at the end of the video, the last couple minutes of that dialogue, what was she saying? Think about the perspective that she was coming from. She was talking to white people. Did y'all catch that? She was saying, y'all burned this down and y'all did this. This is why y'all can't say, oh, why don't they pull themselves up with their bootstrap? See, Ashe ain't explaining no more to these devils. I'm not explaining no more to these devils. We passed the time of explaining and trying to heal and love these devils. They are enemies. If they don't get it, if they don't get what they have done for the past 400 years, if they don't see their actions and how it was wrong for the past 400 goddamn years, then what the hell I look like sitting there trying to explain, oh, well, this is why you can't say, why don't they stop rioting? This is why you can't say, pull yourself up by your bootstrap. Ashe trying to make his own goddamn bootstraps. I'm trying to make my own, manufacture my own boots. I ain't trying to sit there and have y'all sit there and say, oh, that message is good. It's quite fiery, but not too fiery. It's truthful, but not too truthful. Always keep your head on the swivel, family. Now, I don't know where this sister is coming from. I don't know what she stands for. But all I'm saying is right now we seeing a lot of people talking this talk, and really all they want to do is be equal. All they want is equality. All they want to do.
Bingo, she said that too. She said that. Thank you. She said that. She said it's a good thing that Black people just want equality and not revenge.
Exactly.
I'm with Kamal Campbell. That's where I'm at with it. That's where I'm at with it. You know, and that
if you wanted revenge, why would you even tell your goddamn enemy that that's a possibility? You don't want no goddamn revenge. Let's keep it 100 right now, family.
And you know, that's what when we opened the show, Brother Ashe, that's what we talked about. You know, the activism, the energy, but then what? Then what? Because the people don't have the education and the information. And luckily for us, we got our walking Africanus encyclopedia here tonight. Brother Mike Graves on the 1 and 2, who could really dissect it and give it to us in layman terms.
That's right.
So, Sister Keisha, I'll turn the mic to you.
Yes. You know, we're the team. Well, we don't be playing. We know how to tag team y'all when you're not watching. We know how to tag team y'all when you're not watching. You can never out-slick the slickers over here. We gonna get you with it. But it's true. We got the history hitman back with us tonight, family. Sister Farnessa here in the building. I mean, you can throw your smoke signals up right now. You know, I don't know where Brother Cav at. Throw those smoke signals up because he coming in right now. Family, always a friend of ours, a friend of the show, a comrade in the struggle, our brother, our homie, co-founder of 100 Blacks in Law Enforcement Who Care, Brother Michael K. Graves. What's up, Brother Mike? Talk to the people. How you feeling?
Good in my end.
I say got the drum for you. He got the drum out for you, boy.
Yeah, that's some old UAM stuff.
Oh yeah.
The drum.
That's right.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear, brother.
We got you.
Okay. Well, let's get started real quickly. I would like to comment on the video you just played.
Go ahead.
And the sister she needs some more seasoning. Her context and perspective had gone awry. She doesn't understand context and perspective. So contextually, she started off on the wrong foot by saying there's 3 types of people out there in the street. Right. There are many types, but not the one she named. She said, I think she said protesters, people that are protesting, people that are looting. And I think she said something about the other people are angry. And if you know her exact words, you please correct me. Well, the people that are protesting, but you can protest and be angry. It's nothing wrong with being angry. And then she trivialized the matter by saying they're looting. You can't loot when you've been looted. If you've been since day one, everything you have has been taken from you, and only thing that you can strive for is crumbs. Consequently, you should never be characterized as a looter. Jews would never call Jews that survived the Holocaust looters. They call them survivors. That's right. So why would we call our people that might be missing meals every day? You might have crying youth at home that are missing meals. You might have grandparents at home that are missing meals. You can't call them looters. So if you don't know how to define them, then it's best to not say anything at all, and just observe and take notes. So I think her context was wrong. Maybe she had a little passion and her passion in some eyes might be making up for that which she doesn't understand. But to characterize our people that in the street, you're protesting, what does that mean if you're protesting and then there are those that are angry? Well, if you're angry and you tearing up stuff, that means somehow you're not accepted by white people. That the only context you can be accepted by white people on is if you're behaving yourself and doing absolutely nothing there. Maybe got a sign, maybe a little chant, you got a little chant going, and that's about it. Well, we're looking at things slanted with the wrong eyes. Now, with respect to context and perspective, if you don't understand what's going on right now will confuse you. Now, there was a day and a time we understood our enemy better, and there wasn't much confusion, only because the enemy wanted it that way. Wanted to let you know he was the boss, and basically you were in slavery. Consequently, it doesn't matter whether he's right or wrong. Anything he say is lawful and is right and will be deemed proper and appropriate at any given time. So we knew who the enemy was. Well, in this last century or more, I guess ever since 1865, there has been a level of confusion. There was confusion when you in sharecropping state and you think you're free. You're still a slave. If you're in a Jim Crow situation and then segregation, and your movement is not allowed just to move around, you are not free. If you cannot engage in a true contract, whether that's marriage, whether that's buying property, whether that's being in a parent-child relationship, then you're not free. If anyone can intervene between a mother and father and the child, if anybody has that power, then you're not free. So I had a problem with her context, and I have a problem with anyone's context that does not understand certain parameters. I think that Harriet Tubman said it best in her uneducated but profound way when she said, I freed a lot of people, but I could have freed more if they knew that they were slaves. Now, how could a woman with no education, no formal training that these lettered people would even respect, how could she say something so profound? And now we are fooled by the Crumps of the world being called at a funeral the preeminent civil rights attorney of this era. Well, we've forgotten Scipio Africanus Jones. We've forgotten Charles Hamilton Houston. We've just forgotten Alton Maddox. If we can look at Crump as any type of civil rights attorney, if all you are doing is collecting settlements all over the nation, which he's been doing for years now, doing settlements. They got a nice little hustle game going on, him and Sharpton and others.
That's right.
Now they just took it to another level. Civil rights leaders have always split the pie. Nobody got too much. Everybody got more than enough. So the leaders of CORE, NAACP, Urban League, enjoyed the life of a millionaire. Even if you go back 100 years, when these organizations began, they were not millionaires, but you didn't have to be a millionaire in 1909 when you formed the NAACP, or a couple of years later when these other civil rights organizations were formed. You could still live high off the hog on 20,000, 30,000 back then. But now the stakes are much higher. And this is why Richard Nixon made it clear to corporations and billionaires, reward the Negroes, reward Negroes, reward race traders, reward sellouts. Made it crystal clear that that's how you do it. You have to reward them, because if you don't, then you're going to have a real revolution on your hands. And so even Dr. King and his greatness, there were things that Dr. King did that, you know, we don't mention very often, but it's not something that you can readily respect. Did he cut deals? Yes, but he doesn't have anything on the people now that are cutting deals. I mean, Dr. King is a firebrand Malcolm, given what other people are doing now. Now, I'll just give you one little thing that, you know, you could raise a question. In the crossing of the Edmund Pettus Bridge, nobody's ever answered why Dr. King wasn't there the first go round. When everybody was getting their heads split, getting beaten, dogs, police officers beating the hell out of people. Why wasn't Dr. King there? He was supposed to be. He was scheduled to be the preeminent speaker that day. Well, he wasn't there. Who told him not to be there? And why did several days later he called for a second march, and now the police were behaving? And they didn't allow white moms and other white cops and firefighters and all of them to beat the hell out of people. And I'm saying that not to any way degrade Dr. King. I love and respect his legacy. There's some question marks, though. For us to be better as a people, you got to raise some questions. But how do you now see this game being played again? And I'm leading up to something, because I want us to understand, if you believe white folks have changed, then I want you to go to a zoo, or if you got the money, go all the way to the Serengeti and challenge a lion. Just jump in front of a lion and see what happens to you. The same lion from 10,000 or 100,000 years ago is still this very same lion to this day. And the white man is 10 times worse than any lion you can cross paths with. Now, and I'm going to prove that. And I heard y'all speak about Black Lives Matter. I heard it mentioned, and I was sitting here wondering what I would talk about, and just what So from the outset, I had to deal with a little bit concept, context and perspective. And if you don't have context, you can't have perspective, because your point of view, how you see things, your vision is going to be skewed. Now, a lot of people out here wondering, well, all these white people are with us. Are they? I would raise the question that if you saw Tamir Rice, a 12-year-old child, killed on live TV right in front of you, if that don't move you, what possibly can move you? Or as I mentioned last week, Corin Gaines, killed. They cut off the FaceTime right before they killed her, right before the SWAT officer from Baltimore killed her. They showed you up to the moment. I don't even know if you could watch that footage now. They might have taken it off, or they still might have it. That's why it's so important oftentimes to use old school methods of recording it and keeping it, because if you think it's going to always be on the net, it's not going to always be there. Most of the things we said about DSK when he raped his sister at the Sofitel Hotel, most of that's off the internet now. When you go to the internet to see what happened with Dominique Strauss-Kahn, I should say, because some people don't know DSK. Dominique Strauss-Kahn, who was in line to be the next president of France, but he raped a black woman from Guinea, a continental African from Guinea, raped her, And it's not a quantum leap to understand that was one of the countries, one of the Francophone countries that France colonized was Guinea. And so he felt that colonization process was still in effect. That process of imperialism was still in effect. Consequently, he felt that her body was his to do whatever he wanted to do. And that's a whole nother story. If you see the way, you know, as a Jew, what he did and the way the Bloomberg administration responded, they stopped perp walks and suspended them for a while because he could not countenance watching a Jew being handcuffed in person and being led into an automobile, you know. So, but that's a whole nother thing. My point I want to make is that you have to understand context and see, first of all, if you look at what happened with Floyd, and most of this is around Floyd, I'll be the first to admit there are people that never saw a person die, and I understand that. Never saw a person die live where you could actually see it. We've seen dead people, but most of us have never seen a person in that dying process. And you got to see it if you saw the whole 8 minutes or a significant part of that 8 minutes and 46 seconds, you for the first time maybe saw a person actually die at the hands of a police officer while he was taking police action. This is not something you heard about. This is something you saw. Now, if you think that that's motivating white people to now turn and undergird the black movement, you out of your mind. If you believe that white supremacy will be disassembled because of this, you're out of your mind. Now, they have for months now been going around, now say for months, I'm saying for years. A few years ago, 100 Blacks in law enforcement was at a meeting where Soros people was giving out money based on your relationship with police agencies and the criminal justice system. They wanted to know how your organization views the perspective of how your organization views law enforcement, and then based on that, you'll get a check.
Wow.
Well, we pulled out right away out of that meeting. We left that meeting. I don't know if any of you or anyone you know was at those meetings, but they were going on several years ago. This is only corporations are giving up money. Billion-dollar corporate leaders are giving up money. The government is giving up money as we speak now because they want to put out potential fires. Again, white folks are not fighting other white folks. And when they do, you fall back. If white folks are fighting other white folks, you find out why they fighting them after a while, but you fall back. Imperialism has an agenda. Colonialism has an agenda. But if you can't recognize the tenets and the tentacles on how it's choking our people, then we in trouble. So I'm saying that to say that right now you seeing white folks carrying Black Lives Matter signs. And what the media was doing all along for years is that if there's 50 signs, if there's 100 signs at a particular protest march, they'll find the one sign that says Black Lives Matter. And that's the one they're going to show. Now, that's a well-financed organization that's getting tens of millions of dollars literally daily. You think Sharpton gonna get all that money, the millions of dollars? No, it's everybody. So we have to understand that they're going to be paying people. Organizations are going to be making money all over. Now the screen went blank, but everybody's with me, right?
Yep.
We still with you. Yeah, your camera froze, but we still with you. Keep going, brother.
Okay, so I'm just saying that to say that you with me, you said, right?
Yeah, we hear you.
Uh-huh.
We hear you clearly.
Hello?
Yeah, Brother Mike, can you hear us?
There you go.
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. Yeah, we hear you.
Okay. So I'm just saying that I do not for a second believe that these people that you see marching, that they mean us any good. I'm not going to be hoodwinked into believing. Yes, there's some people that, I believe in striking while the fire is hot. So if you can get some fundamental changes done right now, whether it's in able to vote, whether you can get legislation to get passed, even if you can make all police officers wear their body cams, get it done, do it. But don't think that things are going to change. The game is still going to be the same. The corporate leaders, they're not in the business of fighting each other. You're going to see certain things happen. Wow, Walmart now, the beauty products that have been put behind glass cages and locked up, they're now opening that up. You see the NFL, they might allow Colin Kaepernick to get a job. There are certain concessions, but these, again, are crumbs. They've taken off the show Cops that's been on for 30 years. They've taken that show off. They've even removed Gone with the Wind, something we've been watching as long as it's been on TV. And that movie goes back to the 30s.
Yeah.
The 1930s.
Gone with the Wind?
They removed Gone with the Wind.
Uh-oh. Now, see, they
only because
they done took Gone with the Wind. I'm telling you, boy, y'all better be on your P's and Q's. You're messing with white folks' history now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the sister, I forgot her name. The sister that they was calling Mammy in the movie. She was the first.
Hattie McDaniel.
Yeah, McDaniel. Right, McDaniel. She Hattie McDaniel. Right. She was the first person long before there was a Denzel or a Sidney or Halle Berry, anybody, long before they got Academy Awards, she got one. So I think we just have to understand the moment that this is a moment to really sharpen your critical analysis of things, your just ability to see things, because if we don't, then we're going to find ourselves in this same situation again, because those 4 officers have lost their jobs. More than likely, they're going to be convicted. However, as you saw all over the country, there are I can't breathe stories that are still going on as we speak.
Yes.
Nothing much has changed. And in a minute, they're going to wait a little while. They're going to convict those officers. But just tell me, just in terms of memory, what happened to the white woman, Hannah Payne, who killed a close to 60-year-old black man after he had a little traffic accident in Georgia and he was driving away while he was having a seizure? We don't even hear about that anymore.
Right.
Right? We didn't hear about it. We don't know how that's gonna turn out. We saw a white woman get her hair stroked by a black judge who had to convict the cop who killed Botham Jean. Why did they pick a black judge? Well, look, she got convicted of a homicide, but she'll be out in 5 or 6 years. She got sentenced to 10 years, which is tantamount. You can get 10 years for beating somebody up and robbing them.
Yep.
Just for pulling a gun and assaulting that person, you get 10 years for that. Even a manslaughter charge, you can do 7.5 to 15 on manslaughter. So we have to understand the times in which we are in. We have to understand we don't have much in terms of true leadership, and you cannot develop leadership as long as every time an incident occurs, they strategically bring in Jesse or Sharpton. What does that do? That destroys that community's ability to develop organically linked leaders.
Yep.
So how are you going to develop a Sister Keisha in East New York if you're going to bring in Sharpton when something jumps off in East New York? How are you going to develop Ashe in Bed-Stuy if you bring Jesse or Sharpton or somebody when there's an incident in Bed-Stuy and the people in Bed-Stuy are saying, where's Sharpton? Well, you're not going to develop the proper leadership as long as you do that. And the very same people that are in office, Charles Rangel was in office for 40-something years. What, 44 years, something like that?
Yeah.
Ever since Adam has been gone. And then what happened?
We lost Harlem.
He turned around and said nothing, and the Gang of Four said nothing.
Who are the Gang of Four, Mike? Because we got a lot of listeners who don't know who they are. But who are the Gang of Four here in New York?
The Gang of Four were the people that was given leadership of Harlem by politically assassinating Adam Clayton Powell Jr. Their names are David Dinkins, Percy Sutton, Patterson, Basil Patterson. Who did I name so far?
Patterson,
David
Dinkins, Patterson, Dinkins, Percy Sutton. Yeah.
And Charles Rangel. Charles Rangel. So did I name 4?
Yes, you did.
Okay, that's the Gang of Four. So those were the guys, and they all became millionaires literally overnight. They were the ones to go out there to be the front for the white power structure to destroy Adam Clayton Powell. And for one of them to step up in the run and for all them to help destroy and break the power that Adam Clayton Powell had. It took them years and years, and Malcolm unknowingly tabbed Percy Sutton as his attorney. Malcolm didn't know that he was, in a sense, aiding the very people that was going to move on Adam. He didn't know that. He was in a bad situation. He felt that death was imminent. He knew he didn't have much time. Other lawyers were afraid to give legal counsel to his family. He knew he was going to leave a wife and children behind. So he went with Percy Sutton. It worked out well for the Gang of Four because doors open by being around a real activist community. If Malcolm say a person's all right, they're automatically all right. And that helped them get to where they got. But I'll save that the whole thing for another day. But I'm just saying that to say it. I don't even know why I'm talking about the Gang of Four. But what we have to
talking about fake leadership. Your point was the fake leadership.
Yeah, right. Thank you, brother. Because when you have leaders in front of you, you have to watch. Did you pick them? Were they organically picked from our community, or did someone else manufacture them The same way you see Cory Booker was brought in from the outside to end the political career of Sharpe James. Now, whether you like Sharpe James or not, whether you like King Gibson or not, these were the brothers that were mayors of Newark before Cory Booker. And at least our people picked them, and they did a lot of good things. Mayor Barry did a lot of good things. Well, it was the white power structure here in New York that understood it was time for Dinkins to step into that seat. Basil ran labor. He was a labor lawyer, controlled the unions. Charlie Rango was given Harlem. Percy Sutton also was given the airwaves. BLS and all that comes from Percy Sutton. So they were all rewarded. And the last one to be rewarded was David Dinkins. When the white guy, and I'm forgetting his name at the moment, who was the Manhattan Borough president, David Dinkins couldn't beat him. But he stepped out of that office, and that's when David Dinkins became borough president, and then from there was a springboard to run for mayor. Well, he never would have beaten Koch. However, what happened? Yusef Hawkins. Yusef Hawkins was killed by a white mob. Consequently, it galvanized the black community. David Dinkins, his intentions were never to beat Koch. Him and Koch were friends. Very good friends. Keisha knows that. They were good friends. However, he ran so that Koch would have a worthy opponent in the Democratic Party to run again. But what they didn't see coming was black people galvanizing around Yusef Hawkins. And timing is everything in politics. And that's how David Dinkins got in as mayor. But like I said, they're all millionaires. Percy Sutton has passed now, and Basil has passed, and certainly Basil's son, David Patterson, became governor of New York, and that's a whole nother story in itself. But I'm just talking about our leadership. We very rarely, if ever, pick our leaders. And when we do pick our leaders, and they do our bidding, or they do, and then they don't really do our bidding because we don't ask them anything. If you tell me the last time it was demanded that a political figure do something and see if they did it, it just doesn't happen. The stuff Adam Clayton Powell was doing, Adam Clayton Powell was known as Black America's congressman, not just the Harlem congressman. He was Black America's congressman, and that fight he waged all over the country for free education and getting us into universities, getting support for traditional Black colleges and all that stuff. Nobody told Adam to do that. When he broke up and got people jobs in the utilities, gas company, electric company, telephone company, nobody asked Adam to do that. When he started getting blacks into the civil service system, police officers, correction officers, court officers, transit, sanitation, all of those things, nobody said, Adam, you got to get us in that stuff. He did it without a demand. Now, you ask yourself, what the 3 or 4 congressmen we still have right now in the city, what have they done? What was asked of them? Absolutely nothing. Consequently, what did they give us? Nothing.
Nothing.
So I'm just saying that we have to reevaluate our leadership, and I'm open for questions, but I want you to understand that most of the people we see in front of us, we didn't pick. We might wonder where they came from. If you do your research, you'll see where Cory Booker came from. He was picked while he was in an Ivy League college, and when he went over there to Oxford, they told him straight up, he met with Jews, and they told him straight up, look, we already see your future, and you're going to be in charge. You're going to be a leader among Black people. the last thing on his mind was black people. But they picked him. Consequently, he was able to eventually remove Sharpe James from office. All the money came from outside of New Jersey. A lot of it came from Massachusetts. But, you know, again, that's a story in itself. But
It is.
I'm here to answer your questions, and I love being here with y'all because I know that if I was on a regular station, the moment I mentioned the Gang of Four, I would have been cut off. So I thank you all for just being able to mention that.
And just know that our audience truly appreciate it too. We see your comments. If y'all have any questions, y'all can type it in your comments and ask Brother Mike. But they're definitely appreciative of getting the history because some people have only heard things and speculations, but you peel back the layers and laid it out. And in talking about symbolism, real quick, somebody mentioned the statues and the Confederate flags. What does that mean for the country going forward? You know, we talk about symbolism and things, and some people may think it's symbolic as a race and racism. What's your position on the Confederate flags and the statues being taken down?
Well, they should be moved, and I'm not saying that they should be removed to make us feel better about ourselves. We need to make ourselves feel better doing some other things, but whether it's Bubba Watson, the only black NASCAR driver, he feels better today. A lot of people that have to walk by these statues, whether they're in city or state parks, whether they're in the halls of Congress, whether they're in front of a legal institution, courthouses, they should be brought down. Why do I say that? They should be brought down because these are outlaws. Robert E. Lee, Jefferson Davis, Stonewall Jackson, Nathan Bedford Forrest, all of them are criminals. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that the federal government classified them as criminals because they took up weapons against the United States of America. Now, even Robert E. Lee said once he was defeated, and his words were that the Confederate flag should be furrowed, which means it should be buried. He said that. He did not want to go to jail. He did not want to be treated as a POW and consequently do jail time. So he acquiesced. He said it should be furrowed. All of those men that you see when you go into among the power brokers of Congress and the halls of Congress, they should all be brought down. Now, I know the current occupier of the White House said he's against that, even though he doesn't have the power to stop it. Right. These people took up arms against America. So I'm not even coming from the viewpoint, oh, they wanted to continue slavery. Look, if you just have a cursory approach and take 5 minutes to study slavery, you would know that Lincoln gave them an out. Lincoln told the South, if you put down your guns, you can keep your slaves.
Yep.
But if you don't put down your guns, you not only are you going to lose your slaves, you're going to lose your autonomy. And you're going to lose your property. You're going to lose everything. Just said, put down the gun and gave them time. Just look at the Emancipation Proclamation. That's just a speech. It didn't free anybody.
I think it was the third paragraph from the bottom. I think it's on the third paragraph from the bottom of the Emancipation Proclamation. To your point, only the rebellion states. Yeah.
It was an appeal. It was an appeal to the South saying, look, I don't want to unleash, but I will. I'm telling you, I'm giving you an opportunity to drop your weapons. If you drop your weapons, you can come back in, you can keep your slaves. He said it. So we can pretend to this very day and call him the great emancipator, the great liberator, all these flowery terms. It's not true. And I'm not anti-Lincoln. I know he did some good things. He's one of the few presidents during that time that didn't have slaves. Literally, out of the first 7 or 8 presidents, all of them were literally almost all slaveholders, I think except Adam. So very few of them got to the heights of power without slavery. Now, Lincoln didn't have slaves. I've never seen any documents, whether primary sources or borrowed stuff. I've never seen anywhere where Lincoln had slaves. Now, his friend, I'll just be nice on this program and say his friend, Joshua Speed, had slaves. His family had slaves. Y'all know what friend means.
Yeah.
But so in any event, Lincoln made it crystal clear several times to the South. The same way you cannot fly a Nazi flag in Germany to this day, you cannot do that. You will be locked up if you fly the flag. As a matter of fact, if you verbalize that the so-called Holocaust did not exist, you will be locked up in Germany. Yeah, I mean, you might not get locked up here, but you know, you're gonna have problems with Jews if you say the Holocaust didn't exist. But I'll give you an out. If you're not courageous enough to question the Holocaust, I say to every black person that's listening, if anybody says to you, the Holocaust, please say to them, which one? The next time a white person or anybody says to you, the Holocaust, please say to them, which one? Are you talking about the one that occurred on the European theater? Are you talking about the Holocaust? Because the Holocaust was the Holocaust of enslavement.
The Mayafa.
That transpired over a 400-year period. Going back to the 1500s when they set up encampments along the banks of West Africa. That's when the slavery process started. I know we like to say 1619 is catchy, but that's not accurate.
Right. That's
back
British rule.
The 1500s.
Yeah.
Go back to the 1500s and see how they started as early as the 1480s and the 1490s, setting up little armies along the West Africa, and started building dungeons. Don't call them castles, they're dungeons.
That's right.
They started building them and started enslaving indigenous Africans. So
and they like to use 1619 because that was the British rule. Because to your point, the 1400s and the 1500s were the Dutch and the Portuguese. They were all European.
Yes, sir.
And the British got in on the game later. Because
That's right.
at the castles they had their cannons and stuff facing towards the water to fight off other Europeans that was coming in trying to snatch us up because we were the high commodity. So they were fighting over us like they fight over gold.
That's a good point.
Talk those days, it has been more than 400. That's right, Spain.
Right.
That's right.
Spain,
all of them.
But the cannons, they had 2 sets of cannons. Cannons aimed outward and cannons aimed inward.
That's right.
And that's how they became successful. Yeah. So don't let anybody tell you that Lincoln freed us, or don't let anybody tell you that the Civil War was even fought over slavery. Now, every black person that says it, some of them might be well-intentioned, but some of them know better. Now, you have to differentiate. That's why I'm saying context is important. Perspective, critical thinking is important, because there's a big difference in why the war was fought from the Confederacy and why was the war fought from the Union side. Those are 2 total differences. Yes. Now, the Union told them, you can keep your slaves. So that cancels out slavery. Because they were told that, and the South heard it. But if you still insist on states' rights and you still choose to separate, now that's war talk. It's going to be a battle, especially when Lincoln said, he quoted the Bible, a house divided cannot stand. Consequently, everybody's in this room together. Anybody that dare walk toward the door, if I have to, I'll kill them. He made it crystal clear. That's why over 630,000 white men were killed. They died over that, over states' rights, not over slavery, because they could have kept their slaves. Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, all of them could have kept their slaves. But they wanted the rights to succeed, and gangster style Lincoln said nobody walks out of the room. It's that simple. So they're going to tell you that it was over slavery. It was not over slavery because they could have kept their slaves. And the proof of that is that why was there slavery in the North? Please tell me that. If Lincoln ended slavery, why were there slaves in Maryland? Why were there still slaves in New York and Pennsylvania? So he wasn't serious about ending slavery. He wanted the Union to stay together, and that's the basics of it.
Facts.
Right.
And those of you, we see you in the chat. All of you making your comments. Kudos again to you, Brother Mike. For those of you who want to call in with a comment or a question, dial 929-356-4004. That is 929-356-4004 to get in on the conversation. You know, this had to be said because, as you said, there's a lot of emotionalism out here right now, and people just falling into the trick bag, you know, based on all of that. And we have to have some type of clarity, some sort of historical frame of reference to move forward with. And so we thank you for that, brother. One question I have, you know, here in New York, you know, people say that, you know, the governor here, Andrew Cuomo, he looks very presidential, and that you know, they can see him in the White House right now. But you know, if you will, Brother Mike, because I want our people to stay clear, because what you're going to see, family, you know, in the days and months ahead, you're going to have all of these entertainers, political pundits and adversaries. You're going to have a lot of talk show hosts come out and tell you that you have to get involved through the voting process. And, you know, you have to be so fearful of what you're seeing now as if we're going to get anything better under the Democratic Party. But, you know, I digress. But if you will, brother, could you give our listening audience a little bit of insight on Andrew Cuomo, how we experience him here in New York?
Well, you just mentioned it. You said Mario Cuomo. He was chief of staff to Mario Cuomo, his father. His father built more jails than any other living governor ever did. And that was his father's claim to fame. And they filled those jails up. By the way, Mario Cuomo trained his son. And by his son, I'm talking about Andrew, not Chris Cuomo, who's another story altogether. But he trained him as his right-hand man to be the governor and eventually to take over the White House. This is what he was trained for. It's no surprise that he looks presidential. He's been trained for that to be president the past 30 years. Now, Andrew Cuomo was the attorney general. He was not as satisfied being the current position that Tish James has right now. He got that position. He wanted the governor, he wanted a statewide position earlier, but H. Carl McCall, who a Harlem elected official, who rose up the ranks, played ball with the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party surprised Andrew Cuomo and said, it's his turn. Now, he was the controller at the time, and he wanted to run, and he had the support of the Gang of Four, and he also had the support of the Democratic Party. And so Andrew Cuomo, who was ticked off, had to wait. Now, Spitzer eventually became, as you well know, the governor. Spitzer, who was Jewish, a Jewish billionaire, became governor. Now, Patterson would have been one of the three guys in the room as the senior person in the Senate. I mean, as an assemblyman, would have been the senior person. He would have been the speaker. They did not want a black man in the room to divide billions of dollars, because the saying has always been there's three white guys in the room that do New York State's budget. So they convinced him to be lieutenant governor. He was moving out of a power position into a celebrated position that, you know, you just go to functions and do whatever the governor doesn't feel like doing. You go to some major weddings, you go over to some ceremonies, sign a few things, and, you know, you just lay in the cut until something comes around. Well, Patterson took that position, and lo and behold, long story with enemies that Spitzer developed on Wall Street and who they used. I'll do that another time, who they used. And that same person, I'll give you a homework assignment. If you can find out who Wall Street used, and I'll give you a hint, he ran Sharpton's 2004 campaign, then I'll go further if you know that. If y'all can find out.
I do, but
I'm about to say, I know Sister Keisha
I give him a shot at it. I give my brothers a shot.
I'll tell you, he's the Republican operative that during the Bush administration negotiated the deals for the Native Americans in those casinos. He's the guy behind that got his cut from those casino deals. Well, he ran Sharpton's 2004 campaign, and he's been in the news of late and might see some jail time. If you know who it is, I'll talk about it. But let me just.
Or y'all want me to get an answer?
Yeah, sis. I was waiting on you.
Other than Roger Stone, but you know.
Roger Stone. Well, Roger Stone had a beef with Spitzer's father, and Roger Stone turned around and said, "If I can't hurt the father, I'm going to hurt the son." And when he threw down the gauntlet, Spitzer told him to bring it. And he went after Spitzer, and we all know about client number 9.
Yeah.
And so that hit, ergo, Patterson becomes governor. Spitzer has to step down. Now, with Patterson as governor, that complicates things because he's a guy that's always been in the back room, going along with the Democratic Party. So now the Democratic Party has a problem. Cuomo said, you told me to wait, and I waited. It's my turn now. Patterson got to go. He started planning salacious stories in the paper about Patterson having sex with rendezvous over the George Washington Bridge, the other side of the bridge, with women outside of his marriage. They even had the temerity to say salacious things like he was having sex in the utility room, in the utility closet, in his office, things like that. Now, you say, well, why would them stories ill affect Patterson? You have to understand, black man and woman, we're not all made out of the same stuff. And if you get an intelligence report, it will tell you what kind of women you like. You like them light skinned, dark skinned, you like them thick, you like them skinny. Do you like boys? the intelligence reports gives you all of that. And consequently, they knew Patterson wasn't made out of the stuff that Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad is made out of. And so he didn't run again. He even was so weak that he caved in on allowing Ratner, am I saying it right? Rattler to do the budget. He didn't even do his own budget that a governor is empowered to do. He let Ratner do, Ravage, I'm saying it right now, Ravage. He let Ravage do the budget. So he stepped away from the budget. So now, and they removed Malcolm Smith, who got that position. So now it's back to 3 guys in the room. So Malcolm Smith, who always went along with the Democrats, he didn't know that they will find a way to remove you from office. You can do everything right, but guess what? All the things you're doing wrong, they know about it when you putting your hand in the cookie jar. And they say, you know what? Time's up on you. We got to get you out of the room. Got him out of the room. Now it's back to 3 white guys cutting up a budget. And these so-called people, you think they earn their billions of dollars and got to become multimillionaires or billionaires the right way? They got it from you and mine's tax dollars, part of the budget. So Cuomo became governor by forcing a black man out who should have had the right to at least run for his office since he was in it already. He wasn't elected in it, but constitutionally, he got put in when Spitzer had to step down. So we had a black governor, maybe not elected, but we had a black governor in New York State for the first time. And this is why the Democratic Party, the truth be told, this is why Tish is in there now. Because they took Patterson's job away. And so they gave her something. So you can never come back at them and say to Cuomo, well, look, Cuomo, you got in there through immoral means by removing Patterson. Then he'll say, yeah, but look, I got an attorney general that I'm tight with, that I've empowered, that she can do whatever she want to do. And she has my blessings. Well, because she's black, she's from Brooklyn. Patterson was never from Harlem. He's from Long Island. He's the person they recruited to that position. Charlie Rangel and them put him in that as the state senator for Harlem. But that's a whole nother thing. But I'm just making the point that the way power moves and the power shifts, Cuomo, and I didn't even get into the real dirt. I didn't even get into no underworld stuff. I'm just giving you some of the basic things that you should know about Cuomo. He got in on the back of a black man that they had enough goods on him that he didn't even run for the office that he was holding.
Brother Mike, can you hear me?
Stepped down. Yes.
You can hear me. All right, cool.
Yeah.
I got a question because we only got a couple more minutes left, right? So I got a question.
Okay.
I want to thank you for coming on the show. The History Hitman never fails, and we were talking about this in the beginning before you came on about how it's so important to know history, to study history, because it seems like it's repeating itself. Now, what you said about the Gang of Four, right? I just want to make the comment that it's so, and it goes right back to what we were talking about studying history and these fake leaders that get appointed, and it seems like they get all of these perks, but black people don't never get perks. It seems like history is repeating itself again because currently we have another Gang of Four. We have a modern day Gang of Four, and their names are Alicia Garza, Patrice Cullors, Opal Tometi, and DeRay Essen. And if you don't know, these are the 4 founders of Black Lives Matter. Now, it seemed like a lot of people are going so hard on them and saying some things about Black Lives Matter. I see some people saying, oh, we got to stick together. Black people petty. We ain't never going to get nothing. It's not that. We want us to win. But the thing is, we have the foresight to see a lot of these fake leaders that are coming in and being put in these positions And all they do, and matter of fact, Black Lives Matter, I remember it was in an article, George Soros had a big ass mansion by the beach for them. A big ass rental house that was millions of dollars they was paying. They was just chilling in it. D. Ray McKennison. All of them, they got their little under the umbrella organizations that are not named Black Lives Matter, but are under Black Lives Matter. And they all getting money, paychecks from it. So we have a gang of four that's happening right now. Just like David Dinkins and all of the other people that it makes it seem like they really for us, but they really getting paid. It's still happening, family. You have to study history. Now, the question that I want to ask you, brother, and I'm grateful that you came on. This week, New York City, and I'm not sure if it applies to other states, but I know New York City in particular has repealed the 50A law. I would like you to talk about that because it's funny that things swing right back around, because I know if it wasn't last week, it was the week before. I was just talking on our radio show about how the police and the government protect the officers, because the 50A law is the law that was signed that prevents the information as far as the disciplinary action when it comes to the police officers, when they commit crimes and when they get disciplined. And also the 50A law is one of the things that prevents body camera footage from being released immediately, because the 50A law says that it has to be an internal investigation with the police before they release that footage to the public. And this is the reason why we don't hear about Ahmaud Arbery's until 2 months after it happened. We don't see the video, and that was because of the 50A law. Now the 50A has been repealed, brother. Can you tell me what is your opinion on that? Do you think this is going to be something that's going to be helpful, or do you think they're going to find another way around it? I mean, what is your history? Can you teach us about that?
Yeah, I would say to you that, first of all, that could have been done years ago by the de Blasio administration, who Black people seem to love. He has utilized his family, if they're in fact the family, if he's really married to her, or whatever, and whatever. Well, I'll leave that alone. That's stuff for another time. But in any event, whatever they have going, he has utilized that to his political positioning in terms of the Black community, because without the Black vote, you cannot be mayor. The facts are he can use his pen and tomorrow tell a police commissioner, from now on in, your disciplinary record is an open book. Now, obviously, you can't get intrusive into a police officer's address or know anything about his family. But in terms of his disciplinary record, that should be open game. There should be no major fight. And like I said, there's a lot to it. There are layers, but I'm saying that de Blasio can change that. He can have the chief of the department change that. He could, in fact, have fired officers, Pantaleo, day one, the same way the police chief in Minnesota fired those 4 officers day one. He could have done it. But it's just, do you have the political will? Now, and I'm just moving fast because I understand the time is over. I didn't even mention the role that Sharpton played in removing Patterson. That's a whole nother story. He played a key role in removing Patterson. So it wasn't only Andrew Cuomo. Yes, he learned well from his father. However, he still used Black people. And Black Lives Matter, according to the definition of Adam Clayton Powell, you're not a Black organization. If you're financed by whites and you're controlled by whites, you're not a Black organization. So it ain't me. I'm going by Adam's definition. You got to control a Black organization has to be controlled by Black people, and it has to be financed by Black people to be considered. That's what Black Power is. He got a Black Power paper that he read off in the halls of Congress. And so that goes without saying that there's no such thing as Black Lives Matter as a Black organization. They're not that.
Right.
Well, family, we have come to the end. I'm telling you, we just getting started. But there's a lot more layers that we have to pull back. And of course, we're definitely going to have our brother on again to talk about some things he wasn't able to get to, because I want you all to have an understanding of who these people are that are put before you. And we have a wealth of information on them, being that we all reside in the same city and have unfortunately had to cross paths. So we're definitely going to get into that at another time. Brother, everybody in the chat, you know, wish you kudos and the best, and they appreciate your intellect and your insight and your well-rounded understanding of history. So thank you again, brother, for coming in. And, you know, we're going to set it up where you got to come back in, because, you know, the comments is still rolling. They still rolling.
Well, look, you know, Keisha, because you UAM, so you know full well the role that the Cuomos played in the rape and the cover-up of Tawana Brawley. So it's a whole lot to it. So when you want me to in any way undress Cuomo, I'm just wondering, you got to give me an area, because there's so much to him and what him and that family has done. So, you know, but anyway, and maybe we can talk about how he used Sharpton and how Sharpton set up a meeting at Sylvia's. That whole thing is a whole lot to it to destroy Patterson. So there was a lot to it, and we have to understand now why he looks so presidential. He's been training for 30 years for that position. Of course, he looks more presidential than Biden. And again, just if y'all only knew, y'all being independent, you cannot say the term Gang of Four on BLS, BAI, RL, on any of them stations. No one has even tried to do that over the last 30 years, 30, 40 years. You can't mention a Gang of Four. Gary Bird and them gonna shut you down in 2 seconds. BAI, all of them. They all know about it. It's not like I'm walking around knowing something that other people don't know. You know, and so it's a reason why Adam Clayton Powell is no longer or was removed before he died. There's a reason why Cynthia McKinney is not a congressperson to this very day. Gus Savage and so many others. It's a reason for that. And then ask yourself, why are these elected officials that have been around 20, 30 years, why are they still there? Because they ain't doing nothing for us. They're conspiring with the enemy on how to degrade us. And until we get better at that, until we develop the right leadership, we're going to find ourselves a year or two from now in this same position. So Black Lives Matter, but Black Lives Organization, they don't matter because they taking orders. The organization, African blood matters, not Black Lives Matter. African blood matters.
That's right.
That's what's up. And family, again, you can check out Brother Mike Graves along with Brother Noel Lita and Julian Harper on their weekly program, Community Cop. We post the link every week. I get it straight from Mike, and I post it to you all so that you all can see it on YouTube. Again, thank you, brother, for coming in. We got to have you back. Like I said, the comments and questions are still rolling in, and we just can't get to everybody. We're definitely going to pull back the layers because as far as Mr. Cuomo and Sharpton, and I hope you all paid attention. Go ahead, brother. But
sister, I got to give it to you. You got the right name, Roger Stone.
You know, I was just.
And so why don't one of y'all ask Sharpton, how could a Republican operative that steals votes all over the country for their candidate, why was he running a Democrat's campaign for president? Ask yourself that. Ask somebody from the national network that. Mm-hmm. Roger Stone's relationship with Sharpton, Roger Stone's relationship with Trump and others. Well, you might find out that Trump and Sharpton is friends. Oh, y'all didn't know that, huh? Okay. We'll talk about that another time.
Did you see? I just saw recently Rubenstein is defending a brother that got hit in his eye and lost his
Yeah.
eye. You saw that?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. Well, that look, DSK ain't the only white man that raped a black woman. Now the black woman you're talking about, she was a member in good standing of the National Action Network. In good standing. And Sharpton claims when it went down, he was about a mile away in his Midtown apartment.
Right.
But the bottle of Viagra had his name on it that all them white men used. They took the Viagra and raped the black woman.
Mm-hmm.
Woo! Hold it. We gotta hold it there. We gotta hold it there. It's so much that I'm telling
About
y'all.
to go into overtime.
It's a lot.
That's a whole nother show.
A whole nother show. And we definitely gonna get to it because
it's that Alfred Sharpton on the bottom.
We bring the real ones so that you all can make critical analysis, especially with all of these celebrities and so on and so forth put before you on mainstream media to lead you into a political tunnel that we need not get ourselves into. And so we definitely gonna pull a lot of these layers back. We're gonna have them again, but next week we have another flamethrower in here, and I'm telling y'all, buckle up. Buckle up, because you're gonna, as Mike said, we're gonna give you that real talk. We are the real ones, and we're gonna say it how we want to say it and feel it how we want to say it, how we want to feel it. As of tonight, or yesterday night, excuse me, I haven't got the numbers for today yet, but as of yesterday, 12 a.m., 465 have been murdered by the police so far. And we are only at June 11th. Last year, for the year, we had 1,004 murdered by police. And that number continues to climb. And I go back to 2015. I have a huge large database here. From 2015, it was 994. 2016, 962. 2017, 986. 2018, 992, 2019, 1,004, and as of today, we're at 465 murdered by police. So we have to make critical decisions, family, about who we are, what we are, and where we must go. My brothers, close it out. Give us your final comments, questions, or what have you, and let's take it home.
Well, I say our brother Mike Graves came in here spitting them flames as usual. We definitely appreciate you, brother, for the history lesson and the political perspective. And for those who are listening, we thank y'all for joining in. Hopefully you learned something tonight and you were inspired. So now it's your turn to go out and inspire others. Again, you can support us on our individual pages and ventures. Mine is Better Days Ahead Fitness, where I offer free workout classes to the community. I'm a certified personal trainer, so you can go to my Facebook page, Better Days Ahead Fitness, where I share workout tips, and I have a bunch of free videos. So again, we do all of this for the community outside of what you see being done. We help families and the likes. So hopefully you're inspired by what we do here. Again, go out and inspire others so you stay up, stay blessed, and stay true. And remember, no matter how hard things may seem right now, it's always better days ahead. Brother Ashe.
That's right, family. Man, I hope y'all had your notepads out. It was a lot of history, a lot of information that was dropped. And let's not forget it. Let's not make it go in one ear out the other. Let's study our history, because the same things are happening over and over, and we don't want to make the same mistakes. So I'm grateful our brother came on, talked about some history and how it relates to current events, what's happening right now. And family, just remember, please, like my sister Keisha said, keep your head on a swivel, family. Things might seem like it's right, but we know.
It ain't right.
They say if it ain't white, it ain't right. And we got black people mixing a little white in there with the black. So, so keep your head on a swivel, family. And, make sure everybody that's still on right now, if you like tonight's show, show us, do us a favor, share the link. Share the link right now as you exit. Share it on your page. Share it in a group. Let other people see what the History Hitman has brought forth tonight, and keep this message going, family. Like your brother Ashe likes to say, true courage is knowing how to suffer. The battlefield is where you stand. Sister Keisha.
As my brother said, thank you all for tuning in. Again, you can check out Brother Mike Gray's, Noel Leader, and Julian Harper on their show, Community Cop. Please subscribe to their channel also on YouTube. Shout out to Brother Nat Wood. I see you, boy. I see you, Nat. But definitely shout out to them, the Community Cop family. They have always been a sister to us or a brother to us as far as independent media is concerned. So shout out to Sister Veronica and Sheila and everybody else on their team. Much kudos to y'all, because independently is how we're going to win this. We are taking the throne of mainstream media. We are beating them over the head and they can't keep up. But family, always remember, you came in this world through the vein of your ancestors. God darn it, that's the way you better leave it. Stand firm on your square. We will see you again. Black again. Next Thursday, 8 to 10 p.m. Y'all stay up. We out of here. We're going to roll out with a clip from, I think it's the movie Burning Johns, which I think was Mike's favorites over here. We're going to roll out with a clip from Burning Johns. Y'all pay close attention to what he's saying and apply it. We out, y'all.
Oh, Deacon Hill, Coach Hill, whom we all knew and loved, was killed this past week by the Montgomery police when he suggested to them that they had beaten another man sufficiently. Brother Hill was my friend. He was your friend. He was these three boys' father. He was this woman's loving husband. Brother Hill was a good man, a courageous man. Last week, Brother Hill found a cause worth dying for. I envy him. Like Moses, he was a peaceful man who saw something that so horrified him that he was compelled to act. They say he was interfering with the policeman in the execution of his duties. Well, I say he was carrying out God's program. Now, I don't have to remind you about the Ten Commandments. Brother Hill knew that the simplest and the clearest of those 10 great commandments was, thou shalt not kill. God never said, thou shalt not kill unless you are a police officer. He most certainly did not say, thou shalt not kill unless you are white. Last week, a white man was fined for shooting a rabbit out of season. But it's safe to murder Negroes. A rabbit is better off than a Negro because in Alabama, niggers are always in season. And I'll tell you why it's safe to murder Negroes, because Negroes stand by and let it happen. When the Klan burns a cross, it is a message. The next step will be a lynching. As I watched the cross burning outside the church last night, it occurred to me that the crucifixion was just that, a lynching. And isn't it ironic that everything we worship was made possible by a lynching? Because at that ultimate moment of death, Jesus spoke the words that transformed a lynching into a crucifixion, that made Jesus not a condemner, but a redeemer. He said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. But the white policemen who are free day after day to murder Negroes know what they do. And you know what you do. When you stand by and watch your brothers and sisters being lynched, it is as if you stood by while Christ was being crucified. Woe unto you, scribes, Pharisees, hypocrites. That's what you are. Because you sit here every Sunday morning praising Jesus while you know that every Saturday night your brothers and sisters are being murdered and you say nothing, you do nothing. Is it fear? Are you afraid that if you speak too loudly or protest too strongly, you'll be killed like Brother Hill? You well may be. He who takes not this cross and follows me is not worthy of me. Are you worthy of Jesus Christ, or are you only worthy of the state of Alabama?
When Israel was in Egypt's land, let my people go. Oppressed so hard they could not stand. Let my people go. Go down, Moses, way down in Egypt's land. Tell Lord Pharaoh to let my people go. Thus spake the Lord, but Moses said, let my people go. If not, I'll smite your firstborn dead. Let my